And blessed to be a part of your day. Kevin Miller in the morning, KIDO Talk Radio. Joined by best-selling author, commentator, David Horowitz. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Good to have you with us here on KIDO Talk Radio here in Idaho.
I like that little spot you had there. You're exhausted from oppressing everybody. I mean, it's such baloney. It's just unbelievable what the Democratic Party is, this identity politics, which is racism. That they can get away with it. Nobody's oppressed in America. If people were oppressed, they'd leave. Nobody's leaving. They're all, banging down our border walls to get in. Just terrible.
It is indeed. You for years have gone to colleges across the country warning of the crazy radical leftist influence on our children. And now we've got the top 10 universities that are supporting terrorism in America.
Yeah, that's the logical result, because that's what the left is sympathetic to all of America's enemies and has been since the Second World War. And the only reason they weren't sympathetic to America's enemies in the Second World War was because the motherland, Russia, was communist Russia, was attacked by Hitler. But yeah, we have on every major campus in America, there's an organization called Students for Justice in Palestine, and also the Muslim Students Association, both creatures of the Muslim Brotherhood, which are front organizations for the terrorist army, Hamas. Hamas is a self-declared enemy of America. It's called for the obliteration of Israel. It fires rockets into schoolyards and civilian centers, and these campus leftists pretend that the Palestinians are victims and defend these terrorist acts. And they also are chief sponsors of the boycott, divest, and sanctions resolutions on colleges, which is a Hamas plan to strangle the state of Israel. And they spread the genocidal lie that Israel occupies Arab land. It's a total lie. It's easily disproven. You just have to go up anywhere on the internet that has an honest site. The land on which Israel was created is the same land that Syria, Lebanon, Iraq, and Jordan were created. It belonged to the Turkish Empire for 400 years previously. So American Indians have a greater claim on the territory of the United States than these Arab liars do on the state of Israel. Terrorism is violence and intimidation in the service of a political agenda. So every terrorist organization needs a political front. The Irish Republican Army, for example, they blow up things, but they're linked directly to Sinn Féin, which was a political party in Ireland, which didn't blow up things, but advanced their political agendas and propaganda. And that's exactly what Students for Justice in Palestine does. And it's supported by these university administrators. I'm denounced. If I put up a poster with these facts or merely identifying them as supporters of the boycott, divest, and sanctions movement, the university sends out the campus police to tear down the posters, and then a vice president or provost or chancellor will attack me publicly as an Islamophobe and a racist.
David Horowitz joining us, 107.5 FM, 580 AM, KIDO Talk Radio. How do we win back our kids in these college campuses, sir? Is it possible?
The campuses are lost. You can't even go there as a conservative. I just went to Dartmouth, and it was a circus. I mean, the left, the Antifa left, which has a base up there, organized demonstrations inside my speech, so it just turned it into a circus. The campus paper misreported everything I said. A hate sheet was put out lying about what I believe, and the campus security, the director of campus security and safety was there, and he basically encouraged them. This is a $75,000 a year you have to pay to go to Dartmouth University, which is completely shit. It's like going behind the Iron Curtain and go to a university these days. What I think conservatives need to do is this. The Democratic Party, which is the left now, it's a leftist party, their weapon, their chief weapon in all political battles is character assassination. Democrats call Republicans racist, sexist, homophobes, Islamophobes, xenophobes, and neo-Nazis or Nazis. And Republicans call Democrats liberals. What the heck is going on? You can't win a political battle if that's the argument. So, I think you have to take Marlon Brando's advice, and I think it was On the Waterfront, or maybe it was The Wild Ones. Do it to them before they do it to you. The Democratic Party is the party of racism in America. Identity politics judges you first by your skin color, then by your gender, then by your sexual orientation. If you are white, male, and Christian, you are guilty before the fact. If you are female, black, or gay, you're innocent even after the facts show you're guilty. And we saw that in the Kavanaugh hearings. This wicked woman, Christine Blasey Ford, the heroine of the Democrats and the left, set out. What was her plan? Not to come forward, but from the shadows to try to destroy the extraordinary life of Brett Kavanaugh and, of course, his family.
Well, and the media jumped in.
Never having to face a cross-examination, never having to face her accuser,
okay.
The person she was accusing. How un-American is that? How against everything that we stand for? Yet no Republican had the cojones to say that. Then she's a total liar. She said when of course the Democrats are no respecter of anybody, so they outed her. And she had to testify. She said she couldn't come to Washington because she's afraid of flying. Then it was revealed that she's flown all over the South Pacific to go water skiing. Then she claimed that this non-existent event, for which there's no corroborating witnesses or anything, traumatized her, so that she's, to this day, 37 years later, she's claustrophobic. And that's why she had to build a second front door to her house. Then it was revealed that the second front door was because she was turning that part of the house into a rental unit. And that one Republican said, Ms. Ford, you've lied about big things here. Why should we believe anything that you say? Now, that was left to a Democrat who's famous for lying about his Vietnam War non-existent experience, Blumenthal. He actually said that to Kavanaugh, and Kavanaugh did not tell big lies like this. So, it's very effective when if you flinch when they call you a racist, instead of going right for their jugular. Democrats control every inner city of size in America, and they have monopoly control. Detroit, Chicago, Baltimore, every one of them.
Right. And
they've had the monopoly control for 50 to 100 years. Everything that's wrong with the inner city that policy can affect, Democrats are 100% responsible for, but you can't find a Republican with the spine to look a Democrat in the face and say, you belong to a racist party, you are a racist.
David Horowitz, as always, we appreciate you, brother.
That's how you fight back. Thank you.
Thank you. Barb and Sunny Slope with Kevin Miller on KIDO Talk Radio. How do you follow that one?
I don't know. That I agree with them. but yeah, there's a lot there. There really is a lot there.
You remember Cindy? Cindy used to call in, right?
No, go ahead. You was going to say something.
I know. It's funny. Apparently, people have a problem with me speaking on this show.
Yeah, apparently.
Thank you for giving me permission to go ahead. I appreciate your kindness, ma'am. So
Well, thank you.
you remember Cindy on the show, right? Used to call in all the time
Oh, yes.
before she moved away. But man, I think that'd be a good match, Horowitz versus Cindy.
Oh, unbelievable. And then you could just have Liberal Steve in there, to
Well, no,
mediate this.
I don't know who would get a word in edgewise. No, we would just sit back and listen for like 10 hours.
Lock him in a room.
What can we do for you today, Barb?
Well, I was going to comment on Ammon's comments.
And
of
for
course,
people
I'm
for people just tuning in, we were talking last hour about Ammon Bundy making some comments about being more compassionate to the folks trying to get into the country illegally. The press is going, he's broken with Trump. I mean, Ammon Bundy is his own man. He can say whatever he wants. I don't think that's a big issue, but it's funny when Ammon Bundy needed people to get the word out, these same people that are ginning this up were not around.
That's true. That's true. And Ammon is probably one of the most compassionate people I have ever met in my life. He is unbelievable. But I disagree with him here. First off, I guess I have knowledge that that some of the countries, because I have personal connections knowledge, this is not just out of the news, that some of the countries in Latin America need money, and they're accepting money from jihadist groups and allowing training camps for Al Qaeda and ISIS to set up. Because Middle Easterners look very much like Hispanics often, they are doing this in an attempt to invade the United States, and they are trying to facilitate this. And that's knowledge I have from kind of behind the scenes, because I know people involved in tracking this and doing that. So one of the countries, as a matter of fact, down in Latin America, has offered them, and for that matter, you and I could get it too if we chose, for $1,000 you can buy citizenship in their country. $1,000.
What country is that? I need a fallback plan.
I'll check.
You're not going to say on the air?
Well, all right. Belize is one of them.
Yeah, well, look, remember when Glenn Beck was going, hey, everybody, go to Belize. You can buy an estate and live like a king in Belize. And, well, people forget about Belize and all these other third world countries, Barb, is our criminal justice system is certainly not perfect. We love law enforcement. And if you have a lot of money, you can get the best defense money can buy. But there's a reason why they call them third world countries or banana republics down there.
Oh, that is so true.
And by the way,
as you know,
didn't you go to
yes?
Belize?
I was just going to bring that up. I went to Belize with my
Okay, tell me about it.
He has a place down there because he works out of there sometimes. And frankly, it is the 6th highest murder rate in the world. And, I don't know how in the world, I asked him about Glenn Beck's thing that he's selling Somewhereville in Belize. And he said, oh, that's a whole different section, because let me tell you, you wouldn't pay to be in most of Belize. I went through several areas of it, and I thought, are you kidding? They're trying to sell this as a resort? Are you joking? No, it was truly third world. But nevertheless, Belize is trying to help the system with, giving away essentially for $1,000 for citizenship. I call that giving away citizenship to help get these jihadists up here. So a lot of those people coming up have been trained and funded and are being assisted to get up here in that caravan. And that is knowledge I really do have. Another thing is today's paper on the internet and Fox News, it says that 1/3 of those migrants, that's several thousand, 1/3 of those migrants have major health issues, from tuberculosis to AIDS and lots of things in between.
Well, and that's what, Barb, take a breath here for a second and let me jump in, please. You're right. And that's not reported. And the press does a grave disservice to our nation when they don't report the diseases, when they don't report the criminals, when they don't report what has happened, the catch and release. It's horrible.
I fully agree. And they want to come up here. They want us to be exposed to these diseases. They want us to treat them. which I understand. But, I mentioned to you basically quickly at the turkey collection thing. I have a granddaughter right now, 20, who is in need of surgery. She can barely eat because she's in so much pain. She's basically eating a liquid diet at this point. But she can't get surgery because she doesn't have the money for insurance and therefore doesn't have insurance. She went to the state to see if she could get help. And they said, and they actually verbally, openly said this. They said, we're not going to give you help. You're white and you're not pregnant or a single mother. They actually said that to her. So she is without medical care at this point. We're doing a GoFundMe for her. And, but if these Mexican immigrants came up, or whatever, this whole Central American immigrants came up, believe me, I thought I should teach you Spanish quickly, send you there and come back. They would get all the medical care they needed. They would get it all. So the idea that we're using resources, that we have this concern about using our resources for these people that Emin mentioned, I think that comes from history. We are using our resources for them.
Barb,
they are getting
right,
older.
Barb, I got to run, but thank you.
Okay, thank you.
All right,
Bye-bye.
bye-bye. Great call. Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio.
Another 18th Street gang member, self-professed, claims to have murdered somebody and been in prison before, but tracking down those records is difficult.
There we have it. That is from Rodney Scott, Chief Border Patrol Agent in San Diego, talking about the folks coming in on the migration in the caravan.
I want to highlight the 600 criminals as well. There's a lot of law enforcement techniques on how we figure that out, but those are primarily people that have been in the United States in the past, and we've been able to get some kind of a criminal history on them. Getting criminal history on individuals in other countries is quite difficult.
There we have it from our friends at Fox News. Kevin Miller in the morning. How dangerous are the folks in the caravan? We have, on one hand, people saying we need to be compassionate. On the other hand, we're dealing with real-life border security people. And here's my question to people. If it's not such a big deal, if you are so compassionate, and God bless you, you're a lot more compassionate than I am, then would you have a problem with the criminals moving next door to you?
We're preparing accordingly. We watched this migrant caravan, which is different than any other just by volume and the propensity for violence. We watched them violently push across 2 international borders and come up through Mexico. So we did significant intel briefings with our personnel and made sure that we were ready with the right equipment.
Right. So there you have it. You have people essentially going again and again and again saying, look, here's the issue. We have a lot of bad people trying to come into the country, a lot of bad people trying to come into your neighborhood, a lot of bad people. And yet we have people in the media saying, look, we have to let them in. We're a nation of immigrants. We're responsible for these things. I don't think so. And how many of these people that are being the purveyors of the migrants and everything else in the caravan coming in, how many of these folks live in gated communities? How many of these their kids go to public school? These are just simple questions. If you're concerned about the electorate, if you're concerned about the people, then don't you have to live amongst them, right? At 580-5436, 580-KIDO. Traffic and weather together. Let's get you to work safely and on time. It's Eric Gebert. Thank you, Larry. Appreciate you. Phone numbers 580-5436, 580-KIDO. Go to the phones, and let's go to Tess in Boise with Kevin Miller. Good morning, Tess.
Oh, is that me?
That is you.
Okay, it's actually Elaine. But
Elaine,
hey,
we got it mixed up. I'm sorry. Go ahead, please.
Oh, no worries. I just wanted to make a couple comments about the illegal immigration and the border wall. Wasn't this supposed to have been built in an agreement when Clinton was president? Was an amnesty agreement, and it was never built. So, I mean, to me, like, hello, this is just overdue. This was already agreed by Congress. It just wasn't followed through on. And then my second point is, which drives me nuts, it's never going to be a level playing field with conservatives because of the media. That's the piece that is, if the truth and some of these facts were at least being reported, we'd have a chance. But the media is not doing it. And that's what drives me nuts. And I saw that change in my lifetime, right? Where the media suddenly wasn't even close to being fair.
No, I would agree with you. And it's unfortunate because you can't trust the media, and the media is full of itself. You know, the media is so busy, you know, again and again and again, talking about how important they are, trying to sway presidential elections and everything else.
Yeah. It started to be very obvious to us during Obama's how Obama got elected. That's when it started to become very obvious to us, and we lived in California then. And now it's on overdrive with President Trump. But I don't know how to fix that other than just telling not only conservatives, but anyone who cares about the truth to stop watching, you know, any media that's you know, not telling the truth. And by the way, we were in an airport after Thanksgiving flying back to Idaho, and there was CNN on the, you know, airport radio, TV, which is, I mentioned to my husband, this is the only time you'll see me watching CNN. But they had a commercial. They actually had commercials that they were playing every 10 minutes, practically, about telling the truth. I was like, really? You know? Anyway, I don't know why if enough conservatives and just level-minded people stop watching any of these medias, you know, wouldn't that have an effect?
I would agree with you on that, and you see Fox News going a little lib as well.
Well, I haven't quite noticed that yet, but I'm not watching all that much, just, you know, bits and pieces. But yeah, I mean, I think that's I could imagine that as well. And I'm just saying, tell the truth. You know, that's all I want. Tell the truth. And one of the biggest topics where they haven't done that for years, especially in California, is the illegal immigration. And nobody, you know, California, if they are collecting statistics on crime and the cost of illegal immigrants, they're certainly not reporting it. At least Texas, I believe, has been keeping track of some of that. And it was reported on Fox at one point, which is the only time I heard anything like that. But citizens deserve to know that, what the cost is. And, you know, in life and in your pocketbook, what does it cost when an illegal immigrant comes in? And I watched it in part change my state irreparably. It changed my state. And I know you were talking on the radio the other day about, you know, speaking English. It made me think about many times when I was shopping in the Bay Area and in a Target, and literally Spanish was spoken all around me, and even the people on the intercom, on the intercom for the store were speaking Spanish. And I remember thinking, where am I? You know, where am I?
I would agree.
Right? And when you're calling your local business, your bank, and you have to press a button to continue in English, I'm thinking, why am I pressing a button? You know? Anyway, just wanted to make those points.
Elaine, we appreciate you listening. Thank you.
Okay.
All right. Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Maggie.
Good morning, Kevin.
And to our friend John Decker, live from your house to the White House on KIDO Talk Radio. John, good morning.
Hey, good morning, Kevin. You know, I'm in Buenos Aires, Argentina, actually. I'm not at the White House. I'm here ahead of the president who's traveling here today for the G20 summit. So I got here a day before the president, and it's going to be a busy few days for the president while he's down here in Argentina. He's going to be having one-on-one meetings, we're told, with President Xi of China, talking about trade, of course, and also there's a planned meeting with President Putin of Russia as well. Those are the big top meetings the president has during his trip here to the G20.
Indeed, of course, a lot is expected, possibly talking to Vladimir Putin, possibly talking to a few other folks. The president making news wherever he goes, notably yesterday about GM. Does he really hope to I mean, John, what happens to these things? Let's just start with that one, sir.
Well, you know, this is an opportunity that the focus is is trade. It's the economy. It's on economic issues primarily. That being said, when the president has an opportunity to be in the same place as a number of other world leaders, there's an opportunity to talk about other issues as well. And so will the issue of Russia's incursion in Ukraine come up? I would think most certainly when he's meeting with President Putin. So it's not just all economic issues. It's issues that are on sort of the front burner for the president as it relates to the countries with whom he'll be meeting.
Just trying to think of just about anything else. Argentina, your first time there?
Yeah, I've never been to Argentina, so don't ask me a lot. I literally just got in a few hours ago.
Right.
It looks like the place. I say the city's locked down. Needless to say, with all of these world leaders that either have arrived or are going to arrive. President Emmanuel Macron is staying at the hotel where I'm staying, so there's extra security here anytime you come into and leave the hotel, metal detectors, that kind of thing. And, you can certainly imagine the same can be said for the hotel where President Trump is staying, and the hotel where President Xi and President Putin are staying. So this whole city is locked down with a large police presence.
John Decker, we appreciate you making time for us live from Argentina this morning. Safe travels, my friend.
Hey, thanks a lot. I appreciate it. I hope to talk to you, as the G20 wears on, and we can talk a little bit about what's on the agenda for the president over the next few days. Yes,
sir. Take care, John.
Thanks a lot, Kevin. All right.
Bye-bye. Our great friend John Decker joining us. We sure appreciate him joining us live from the G7 summit. It's huge. That is huge. Fox News Radio on KIDO Talk Radio. So, we've been covering this story since Rocky Barker covered it a long time ago. And it's the story of the Texas billionaire brothers, the Wilks brothers. And I remember every time we take on people with money, we always get that note that I have always gotten from people. Be careful, Kevin Miller. The Wilks brothers may buy KIDO Talk Radio and fire you. Now, I don't know about the Wilks brothers. I know they are conservatives. I know they own the Daily Signal. Maybe you're down with the Daily Signal. They were supposed to buy Glenn Beck's The Blaze. But on a greater question here, here's the story from our news partners, Channel 7. Wilks Brothers gates on Forest Service Road is illegal, according to the Idaho Wildlife Federation. This is more than just gates. IWF Executive Director Brian Brooks said this is about wealthy individuals flaunting Idaho laws and illegally claiming public resources as their own without repercussions. Now, again, we have a lot of people that are more manly than yours truly. That really doesn't take much. It's like, when you were a kid using your bike and you put up a ramp and you jumped it. Anybody could do that. So here we have the Wilks brothers, big money Texas billionaires, buying a bunch of Idaho, right? And we've had individuals, which I won't say, have alerted us that not only are the Wilks brothers doing this, but they've got special forces, ex-special forces people providing security. I don't know. I haven't seen it firsthand, so it's all secondhand information. At 580-5436, 580-KIDO, there are two questions. Since they own the land, are they allowed to do this? And if they're not, what are their rights? Does the state have a right to say, well, you can't do that? Even though you own your property, you pay off your mortgage, you still have to pay the state taxes. And would all these do-gooding news organizations care if the Wilks brothers were the libs? If they were the libs, would they be coming after the Wilks brothers? You buy your land, and maybe this has happened to you. Maybe you have some rental property. Maybe you have the woods or something like that, and people come in. They're not responsible hunters. They're not respectful. They leave their trash, their human waste all over the place. And that's been the defense the Wilkes brothers have given. It's kind of weird, like the Duke boys, the Wilkes brothers. It's kind of odd. But I say this, and you can recall, who was it? Tom Tancredo, former congressman, ran for president, warning Idaho many years ago on this program. He said, Kevin Miller, you better tell your friends on KIDO Talk Radio to be wary of people coming into your state with big money. Is there anything wrong with big money? No. But if they don't share your values, you're in trouble. Colorado, remember, used to be staunchly red, staunchly conservative. And then the libs came in, like 2 or 3 lib billionaires, and flipped it. I don't know about you, but that's my fear here. All the libs need is some big money backing. And we could have a Donnybrook going on, couldn't we? So you take a look at the Wilkes brothers, and their point is, look, this is our land. We don't want you in it. We're locking you out. Well, you can't get through roads in that way. Now, will this be litigated? I would think that somebody would take them to court. Maybe the state of Idaho, something like that. Let the court decide, I suppose. But when you have people coming in, look, Idaho is not a secret anymore. I can't tell you how to live. I can just give you the platform while I have it to express your thoughts, to influence the people that listen to this program, which the newsmakers do. They may not call, but they listen because they want to hear what you're saying at 580-5436, 580-KIDO. But I'm concerned about people coming into this state, and whether it's, again, the Wilkes brothers are conservative, maybe they'll buy KIDO Talk Radio and make us more conservative. Who knows? But what I'm saying about the people coming in, and then you have the guy from Micron, the leader of Micron. Does anybody know his name? The guy that lives in California, but he's the head of Micron? No, God rest his soul. Steve Appleton died, and he loved Micron. And Micron would have always been good while the founder, or not the founder, but the protector was there. So at 580-5436, 580-KIDO, go back to Micron, and you have Mark Johnson of Channel 7 in his rather disarming yet charming way. Ask the Micron CEO, hey, are you staying here? Oh, I love Boise. I love this. But you're building bigger campuses in Northern California. You're getting $6 billion. You're making a $6 billion investment in Virginia. Taiwan is getting a bunch of stuff. And who's looking out for us? The old Bill O'Reilly saying. Who's looking out for us? President Trump is looking out for us, often vilified by snarky liberal progressives, but he is looking out for Americans. And we need to have that same pride, and I know you do, for Idaho. It will be up to the courts, I suppose, to decide whether or not the Wilkes brothers can lock people out. That's why you have the court system. I'm a little uncomfortable with special forces people, if that report is true, patrolling the perimeter as if you're, waging war or something of that nature. Special forces people, very proficient, very patriotic, and they're collecting a paycheck, if that report is true. That doesn't seem very neighborly to me, partner. Think about that. Then you have people moving in from everywhere. We'll just say the West Coast, instituting their values. And then everybody goes, well, Kevin Miller, you're always ripping on people from California. Look at Elaine, very conservative. Her entire area of life was taken over by people that didn't speak English. Heck, you can go to anywhere in America and people don't speak English. Why would you want to speak English? Why would you want to have pride in this country? Those that do are xenophobes and aren't as enlightened as the globalists. But I worry about this state, and I do believe what we say on the air. I do stand for this state, and I hope that our elected officials understand the looming threats from within and without, particularly when you have people coming in and they're going, hey, we're going to lock everybody out. Okay, well, it's your land. Can't we come to a peaceful resolution instead of having people allegedly with the weapons doing the patrol as if this were Kashmir or Kandahar and not somewhere in Blaine or Blair County or what have you. And people are concerned. They should be. This is how you lose a state. You lose your values. I go back to this. You know, Paulette Jordan didn't run a very good campaign, but what did she get, 38, 39% of the vote? Imagine if she had run a more competitive race. Maybe Brad Little would have spent more money. It wouldn't have mattered. But this is how things are taken away from us if we don't appreciate them. I know you appreciate them. I've been here a little over 9 years. I've seen the change in 9 years where we used to laugh about traffic to bumper on the connector to and from work. And that's just a small part of our quality of life that has been impacted. What's next? 107.5 FM, 580 AM, KIDO Talk Radio. More of your calls next. And don't forget this afternoon, Sean Hannity. Exclusively here on your home for Hannity, KIDO Talk Radio. Dwayne and Wilder, good morning. You're on KIDO Talk Radio.
Morning, Kevin. How you doing?
Blessed to be with you, sir.
Yes, I'm a California transplant. I moved up here in 2009. I lived in Riverside, California. That's Southern California. It was, as I grew up, an agrarian community. Within 20 years, it became a bedroom community and a parking lot. I'm going to tell everybody listening, if you do not get involved with your community and stop this, and it's not an Idaho problem, it's a U.S. problem. Look at Texas, look at Florida, as Kevin mentioned, look at Colorado. These states were all red just a few years ago. Ted Cruz barely won an election in Texas. You couldn't get a Democrat elected in Texas as a dog catcher 5 years ago. And this is happening. It's creeping in. Everybody, the left has figured out that they can't win in flyover country. That they've held the coastal areas for decades. And so now the attack is on flyover country. We're included. And most of the people that I know that have come up here from California are not here to change the state. They are here because the state is what it is, myself included. And I can see the warning signs, and I hope that people are listening because you really have to pay attention. It's insidious. You'll turn around one day, and it will be too late. Look at California right now. That state is bankrupt, overpopulated, and it's lost. It's going to have to crash to save itself. And that's the only way out that I see for California. They have literally frittered away the fifth largest economy in the world. It used to be a great place to live, and unfortunately I have to travel back there next year to do some business that I really don't want to do. I hate leaving this state. I love it here. I came here in 99 first and decided right then and there, this is where I want to live. And you have to protect what we have here. And I know I wasn't born here, but I'm a U.S. citizen, and we're all U.S. citizens, I hope. And that means that all of our states are ours, and if we don't start taking this back soon and do something to get involved, you're really going to have a problem. And it's a lot harder to push that cart uphill than to push it downhill.
Dwayne, thank you for sharing. We appreciate you, brother.
All right, take care.
Take care. Mark in Eagle, Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio. Hello, Mark.
Boy, Kevin, did Dwayne hit that nail on the head. But, you know, Dwayne, I'm going to tell you, I came here in 1995 from the Bay Area. I was born in Los Angeles, went through the school systems at a time when you did learn something back then. I'm over 60 years old now, and I've seen what's happened to states like Oregon and Washington State that I lived in, but especially California. I don't know. I think the wrath of God is going to hit that state, and you're going to see things happen that nobody has ever seen in their lifetime. You know, the caravan deal. Will you please tell me, Kevin, why in the hell, if Obama and Clinton use the CIA, NSA as tools to spy on all of us, how come Trump does not use the same intelligence agencies to go after somebody like George Soros, who lives here on U.S. soil? There is just way too much evidence out there that you can find on the internet from legitimate websites about the unpatriotic type things he has done to this nation by bringing in and sponsoring terrorist groups to come in. There are terrorists, even Homeland Security said it has come in on these caravans, but bringing in gangbangers. That, I would think, under classifications of the Patriot Act right there, would subject him to being tried for sedition, treason, and anti-American activities. But is it because he's a billionaire?
Let me answer that question in a minute, Mark. Thank you for the call. KIDO Talk Radio, traffic and weather together. Good morning, Dave.